One of the things I often have to ask myself as a writer is why? And it's one of the questions that I often ask my characters. But today, it's my turn to answer some of your questions. So hang around and see what I have to say. If you're new, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Toni Kenyon. I am a rock star and billionaire romance writer, and I come to you each Friday from my trusty red couch where I talk many things romance. And this week, I thought I would start addressing some of the questions that many people ask me about my writing and my process and what I do and where I get my ideas and all those sorts of things. So I have a little list, and it is sitting beside me, and I shall refer to it so that I can answer the questions. And my very first question is, why romance? And I say, why not romance? I think there is enough evil and nastiness and terrible things going on in the world. And what I love about romance is that I, as a reader and as a writer, I'm always guaranteed a happy ever after, or a happy for now, but I actually prefer a happy ever after because I like to think that my poor characters, who I've put through hell to eventually get to their happy ever after, have a long and happy life together ahead of them. So that's what I try and do. So that's why romance. And I actually, as I tell people, I used to work in law and I used to work in relationship property. And the big joke around the office used to be that I would spend my days helping people to tear their marriages apart. And then I would go home and detox by writing about true love. And I found that incredibly, an incredible way to de-stress from a very stressful day, and a lovely way to remain hopeful pretty much for the human race after some of the stuff that I've been dealing with during the day. So that is why I choose romance, because I find myself, no matter what I'm reading, always looking for the romance. And it's not about the hot and heavy sex in the bedroom, even though there's a lot of that in some of the stuff that I read and some of the stuff that I write. Although I have to say, the longer that I've been writing, the less of that I think is appearing in a lot of my stories, but we can talk about that another day. But what I love is the emotional connection between the characters and the fact that these two people work really, really hard to find happiness. And, you know, as I said, there is so much bitterness and horribleness and negativity in the world, and I just sometimes want to wrap myself up in my blanket of denial and read or write a romance. So that's why romance. My next question is, do you want each book you write to stand alone, or are you trying to build a body of work with connection? Now, it's an interesting question. And if you'd have asked me that question when I first started writing, which was mumble many years ago, I'd have probably told you that I want every book to stand alone. And I think I try and write every story so that it stands alone. And that's really important in a romance, because obviously these two people meet, they have this lovely journey together, and then they're going to have this lovely life after we close the last page of the book. But what I have discovered is that you, dear lovely readers, like to revisit the same world over and over and over again. And so you have actually forced me to create, or begin to create, a body of work that does come back to the same place and does have connections. And so that is why I write about a band, because it's about family, and we can write about each of the lovely characters in the band, and also I can go back to the same world over and over again to revisit with familiar people, which you love and which you proved to me you're loving over and over again with the King Brothers weekly series at the moment. And also what it means is that you know when you're coming back to my stories that you're going to get what it is that you like. You're going to get what it is that attracted you to my stories, and you're going to enjoy being in the worlds that I create. So like I say, if you'd have asked me that question when I first started writing, I'd have said no. I definitely want to create a different story every time, because otherwise I'm going to get bored and I can't keep writing the same thing. And what I have discovered over the many years that I've been writing is that I never get bored, because every story is a different story. Every journey is seen through the eyes of a different hero and heroine, so there is no chance I can be bored. And every time I come back to the worlds that I've created, you love coming back with me. Hi, Vinny. I'm going to wave and say hello. It's lovely to see you too. I didn't think people who would still be up and about where you live, but that's wonderful. So we come back to billionaires, we come back to rock stars, we come back to Hauraki Island, even though I haven't been back there as often as I would like, but I do promise you that I will get back there and I will finish that series for you. And there is the odd standalone in my work, but I think really, if I looked hard, I could go back and I could make each of those standalones part of a series, because there is so much to write about inside of each of those worlds, and that's a wonderful thing too. And the other thing, as far as a body of work's concerned, that I've found out as I've written is that I like to write about the same themes. Obviously, I love the Cinderella story. I love writing about New Zealand, so I'm building a body of work set in New Zealand. And that just makes it so much easier, I guess, for me and for you to keep coming back to the places that we love. And my third and final question that I'm going to answer tonight, and there are lots of other questions, but I decided that I would just answer 3 tonight, is will you branch out from rock stars and billionaires? Well, I have actually branched out a little bit from rock stars and billionaires. And I do have a single military romance in there, Return to Ala Moana Beach, which is a story that I love, about my returned serviceman with his gunshot wound in his back and his big PTSD problems. And I have written a lovely little book about a lawyer and a lady who installs aquariums in office buildings. And there is also a chance that that could be a series as well. But yes, I do often think about branching out, and I do loosely have a few stories plotted. There is, of course, my fictional account of my own recovery from alcoholism, Pushing Up Daisies, which stands alone. But there is a sequel to that story, which has been sitting on my hard drive for a very long time, waiting for me to get up the guts to finish it. So maybe it's about time that I finished that story and had it edited and packaged it and put it up for you to read. So I also have a slightly paranormal series, which is very plotted, about some kind of dark and macabre things, but dark and macabre things that fascinate me. But it does have some lovely love interests in there as well. So there you go. That's a little bit of a teaser of a few other things that run around in my head. So I have thought about branching out, but I do know that my readers love to read what it is that I write. And I'm all about pleasing you all. So I continue to write what you ask me for, and I continue to write what you love, and I continue to enjoy my writing. So there you go. So what else do I have to tell you this week? King Brothers episode 31 is up and sitting there waiting for you, ready for you to vote on. I'm coming to you very late in New Zealand. It is evening here tonight. I've had another very busy day, and I am, of course, looking forward to another weekend, because we've had a very short week, so I've been a little bit discombobulated again, but that's just how things are. So as I always say, thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me into your life. Thank you for asking your questions. If there are any other questions that you would like to ask me, please feel free to email me. Hit me up at the website, www.tonikenyon.com, and send me a question, and I will make sure that I answer it on the Red Couch for you. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, tell somebody today that you love them. I hope that you are loved and safe, and that you are enjoying what you're doing in your life at the moment. Thank you for stopping in. Thank you for your support, and I will catch you again next week. Bye for now.